And now we're going to head over to NTV's Jodi Cooke, who joins us live with NDP Leader Jim Dinn. Jodi.
Good evening, Tony Marie. Well, I am at NDP headquarters, and there's a little less fanfare here today, like we just saw with the other two party leaders. That's because, Jim Dinn, you and your party announced your campaign and your platform yesterday. Give us a little bit of the highlight reel of what took place yesterday at Kitty Vitty.
So yesterday was an opportunity to talk about our candidates, talk about our priorities, talk about what we're about, which is getting a better deal for the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. We have been announcing a number of the promises leading up to this. So we're not waiting. We didn't wait for the Premier to dilly-dally and when to call the election. We want to hit the ground running and make sure people knew exactly where we stood. We've got a costed platform. Platform that emphasizes a livable minimum wage and also tax breaks for small businesses, about making sure that people can afford to send their children to university with affordable tuition, about having when it looks at removing the HST from children's essential items and from electricity. It's about really very much focus on the issues we've heard over the last 4 to 6 years, when Alison was with us, when Jordan and I have sat in the House of Assembly. These are the issues that we've heard, and so our platform is an attempt to respond directly to those basic needs, to the things that are to the issues that are causing people to struggle in our province.
You're slowly rolling out your candidate list. You've said that you certainly have enough to challenge government. You've got enough to form government, and that you really see an opportunity for the NDP. Talk to us a little bit about that this evening.
Well, we have been very clear about this and about the candidate, the depth of the candidates we have, the diversity. We've been very upfront about that from the get-go as to each person, each candidate will be a fantastic MHA, and they're leaders in their own right. They come from the advocacy background. They're a part of not-for-profits. They're media personalities. They're in they're councillors on city councils. They're people who work as social workers. They're people from the education department. These are all people, small business owners. They're small people they're candidates that represent the ordinary individual. They're people who've seen the challenges, and they're about to make a difference. So it's interesting to note that, of course, that obviously the Liberals are mimicking the same language, that they're trying to show that they've got a diverse group, but we do. But we have people who are not beholden clearly to corporate donors. We've made that clear. We'll have a further announcement on that in the next day or so, but we are very much focused on addressing issues of housing, of education, the healthcare system. Those are the things that we're very much focused on.
There's a lot of concern in this province right now about fiscal responsibility, and on Sunday you had indicated that all of the promises made will have a price tag attached to them. So you've weighed out the checks and the balances here.
And we have a costed platform. We do have that, and it's one that will not result in an increase in taxes for the people of the province, but it will. And I guess if anything else, I've said often that the NDP, it's about the priorities. We're going to spend, but it's about the priorities, where we put that money. Where is it going to help people the most? Is it subsidizing corporate donors? Is it about paying for overpriced land up here in Kenmount Terrace? Is it about paying an overpriced lease agreement with another Liberal donor, or is it about actually putting money into the pockets of individuals, people who are struggling just to put food, pay the electricity bills, pay rent, that kind of thing. So one of the issues we brought in, one of the measures we brought in is about putting forward rent and vacancy control. That's about to keep people stabilized in their homes. We have been very clear of where our priorities are on this, and it's something that needs to change. We have sat in this House. I've sat in this House personally for the last 6 years and listened to the bantering and bickering and the exchange of insults while people in the province are suffering. And it infuriates me. And I would say it infuriates the people of who are running for us. I heard the Premier has said that education, healthcare, and the Churchill Falls MOU are his priorities, what he thinks the election is going about. Well, he's off to a poor start already, because if we look at the fact we had a report that's just released that kicked the can down the road of school of class composition and class size down the road, only to find out that they didn't have the the commitment to make sure that it was accurate, that it didn't have false references. We have a government that rather than fix the healthcare system and their nursing shortage, has decided that we're going to spend another $5.8 million on agency nurses. and with the Churchill Falls, I find that rich, because without the NDP and the independents pushing, we would not have had an independent oversight committee to make sure that we're getting the best deal for the people of this province. They resisted that at the beginning, and it's only when they're forced into a corner that they did it. So I will tell you that the NDP has been there in all these issues to make sure that that from our point of view, that the people who call into our office, the people call into my office, that call into Jordan's office, that are still calling in, are going to get the best deal possible for them.
We have some new faces in your candidates list. You're in the vetting process right now. We have some familiar faces in your candidates list. Oftentimes you have heard this before, that the party might lack some experience. What's your response to that?
I would say that if we look at anyone out there now, we've seen the many cabinet ministers who left aren't running this in this election. I would say that there's an awful lot of people who don't have, on all parties, who don't have the experience in government, for that matter. So we're just as qualified. But I will say this: just because you're in government for the last 10 years doesn't mean you're making the best decisions possible. Okay, and we've seen that for the last 10 years, and we've seen that before. I've said when I was when I was president of the Teachers Association, I dealt with both the Liberals and I dealt with both the PCs. They're no different. It's just a different color, but still answering to the same corporate bodies, and still we struggle to make sure that people have affordable housing, that people have an affordable, they can afford electricity, that they can basically have earn a decent wage that's going to make sure that they can put food on the table and support their children, that they don't have to work 3 jobs just to make ends meet, and a housing strategy that's going to be deeply affordable. So these are all the things we fought for in my time since I was in this role in 2019, and we haven't seen the changes. So we've got just as experienced people with a broader depth, but I can tell you that given the opportunity, we'll show you what a change we can make, and a change for the positive.
All right, Jim Dinn, NDP, running in St. John's Centre, and that brings us back to the studio from NDP headquarters this evening. Michael and Tony Marie.
All right, thank you so very much, Jodi. NTV's Jodi Cooke reporting live for us this evening.